Hello, Tara here from the Gentle Sleep Specialist. Okay, guys, today I'm going to be talking about an unsettled newborn and just things that you can put into place to help your newborn when they're having a tough time. So, first things first, making sure you're keeping an eye on your newborn's awake time. Newborns can only really do around 45 to 60 minutes awake time before they need to go back down again. However, in that awake time, if your little one's sleeping or getting really drowsy on feeds and then fighting their sleep ahead, it might be because they're counting that feed as their sleep. So what I would start to do is just work on proper feeds. So keeping them that little bit more aware on the feeds and or just focusing on getting them a good feed when they're due the feed and then focusing on a good sleep from there. Because if they keep falling asleep, for example, after a few minutes on a feed and then they wake and then they're irritable, we kind of just get into this pattern of like snack feeding and snack sleeping, and it can be quite difficult to run your day from there. So focus on a good feed. So once you've given them a good feed, then you know, right, it's time for sleep. It's time to get them some rest. Sometimes we don't really put so much of an emphasis for newborns on sleep and how important that is. And especially for things like irritability and or tummy issues as well. They need time to rest and digest. Their tummy needs a break in between their feeds and their brain needs downtime as well. So make sure you put a really big emphasis onto sleeping as well. So we'd focus on a good feed and then focus on your good sleep period after that. The next thing that I would do for a newborn is make sure that at nighttime you keep things pretty low key. Keep the room pretty dull during the nighttime, even when you're feeding. And then, for example, make sure you start your day at a reasonable time. So say 7:30 a.m. for example. It's very common for newborns to not really settle at nighttime properly until say around 9 p.m. But as they're coming closer to 12 weeks, we want to start to shuffle that forward a bit. And one way that we can do that is by making sure that they're up by say 7:30 in the morning. That can really help to bring their bedtime forwards. The other thing that you might do, for example, is if they wake from their last nap at say 5:30 or 6, is do a bath in that next section to sort of symbolize to them that bedtime is coming as well. If your little one is stuck with lots of cluster feeding in the evening, I would really start to work on, are they just zoning out and dozing on those feeds, then waking soon after wanting to feed again? So again, I'd bring it back to focusing on a decent feed, then a good sleep, and start to really segment once again. When it comes to the daytime, I would bring your babes out of their room for sleeps, for feeds, and then I'd have it in the bright lounge room and keep things nice and bright during that awake period. So when they're having feeds in the bright lounge room, same with if it's just cuddle time or you're burping them. And then when it comes to naps, I would still put your little one in either your room or their room for their sleep for naps as well. You can use white noise, make sure the room is dark, and make sure they're warm enough as well, especially during the daytime. Sometimes because we're a bit warm, we're on the go, we kind of forget to rug them up for the daytime as well. So make sure that they're warm enough for the daytime also. What I would then do from there is when it comes to newborns, we want to make sure they're not getting too overstimulated. So often with newborns, where they're being passed around and, if they're irritable, the first thing we try and do is try and fix that by distraction or by trying to sort of snap them out of it. What I want you to do, if your little one is starting to get really irritated, it's probably overstimulation as well. So make sure you bring them into a dark room, swaddle them up and put some white noise on and just be with them. So try and calm their nervous system. That's going to be really important as well. So to recap, I would keep an eye on their awake period and make sure it's not too long. I'd start to define their sections, so making sure they're having a good feed and then a good sleep. I would make sure that during the daytime they're out during their awake periods in a bright lounge room or brighter areas, and then at night time keep things pretty low key. And then when it comes to overstimulation, just making sure that they're not getting too much stimulation and that you're giving them plenty of downtime as well. Anyway, hope that helps, guys. Take care.